Well, hi, and welcome back. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I There's just a lot of things going on, and I felt like I had to throw that last episode at you very choppy and rough, and it was long. So I took that opportunity to enjoy the Easter holiday, the Holy Week, and just step back and let my body heal because I was super sick and just give things a chance to breathe a little bit. I thought that was necessary and just reflect almost on everything that's been happening. Um, One thing I want to make abundantly clear is my gratitude, Justin's gratitude, and just downright gratefulness for the amount of support and kindness that has been shown to our family is immense. And, um, you know, sometimes I get hard on myself about the numbers I see on certain things or whatever. But when I go out into public and I have people that I've never met, but they know me and they're coming up and telling us, you know, we've been following your story and thank you so much for being a voice in the community and what you're doing is really awesome. That means something. Um, I know I'm not the most popular voice to a lot of Rice Lake residents. I've been told I've been told a lot of things, but it doesn't stop me because I refuse to let the ones that don't even bother doing their own research, don't even bother finding out the real truth on things. If they want to live in their cloud, I'm going to let them. But the ones that actually want to see the light and see the things that are going on, and the people who are actually, you know, at the helm of our little local government, and which, has lately been trickling down from the state government, and like all these things, they all play a role in having a voice, having free speech, sticking up for what's right. And I just feel like the community, the state, the nation as a whole, I think it is vital to encourage people to always voice voice your not so much opinion, but like just don't be afraid to speak up if you see something is wrong. And just because somebody else doesn't think it's wrong doesn't mean that you have to stay quiet. That is not okay. You have every right if to call something out if you feel like it needs to be um, pointed out. So anyway, I hope that I'm doing that. I ebb and flow on my um, drive, my emotions on all this. I mean, I know there's a chapter and portions of it that are finally closing, which I think is going to be so amazing and so awesome. But that's not, I mean, I'm not going to stop being a voice in the community. I'm not going to stop exposing awful behavior, corrupt behavior, things that are being done in front of other council members that they're not even noticing that's going on behind the scenes. And then they have the audacity to call anybody who points out the other people like, oh, I don't think that these people are great. It's like, open your eyes. Everybody needs to open their eyes. Is everything always going to be done perfectly by the book? Awesome. No, that's unrealistic. It'll never happen. But just being straight up honest as our number one rule in life, I think that's an easy request. I would think that would not be hard to ask people to do, but it seems to me like honesty itself is gone and we're all just like players in this theater act. I'm yeah. Anyway, yesterday I thought this would be good launching board for content today, because yesterday I got the final notice for the unemployment decision, and we expected it. We didn't actually honestly believe that we stood a chance, but why wouldn't we try? The way that Tony has worked this whole time is, I think she's, quite honestly, she is, her level of intelligence on manipulation and evil tactics is so incredible that she is like steps ahead of people. And that's how I've always felt. But I would catch her on things, and I don't think she's, ever been um, parallel with somebody, and like seeing it firsthand. I would watch how she would set things up for like inevitable death, if you will. I mean, there were things that were done in Justin's file that it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So when we fought the unemployment, or when we made an appeal to the unemployment office, we almost were guaranteeing it was going to be a no, because they go off of like literally document trails. And in Justin's personnel file, which was all fabricated crap, that's what this judge is reading or hearing. And it was interesting. It was an interesting process. We actually had 2 hearings. And right from the beginning, I was planning on being just, I didn't know, I've never done it. So we get on the phone and I'm there. And then she asks me, if she goes, are you representing him, or are you going to be a witness? And I was like, oh, I didn't know that I had that opportunity. So I took it because, Justin, as he said in his termination speech, public speaking or speaking in general, or just like being on the spot, quick thinking, it's not his gig. And these people have instilled so much anxiety and downright fear into this man that, like, I wanted to be there to help him as much as I could. But so what I'm going to do today is just cover some of the unemployment stuff, because I really want to show you some of the things that I was able to send in to the unemployment office. And then also, I want to make it very clear, because I work in a pretty big dental office, and I have friends who are in management. I also know a lot of people in managerial roles in other places that have had to terminate people, either willingly, unwillingly, or what have you. And let me just tell you about Minnesota unemployment. Yes, the state comes in and says, is it eligible for unemployment via, like, is it a fair, and I got to think of the right words here, is the eligibility fair, basically? And so they look at their facts and what's submitted. But ultimately, every single manager I talk to, every single employer, every single owner that I talk to, my dad included, if you want to make sure that the person you fired has unemployment just to like survive and live, you can do that very easily. You can do it very easily, because all you have to do is say, I'm not arguing the appeal. You have the power as the employer to say, we understand the policy was broken, and it was what initiated dismissal. However, we don't believe the employee intentionally meant to break policy. However, you could just play off of that. You could just even say, like, she called him incompetent all the time. Could have just played off of that. Said, we just felt like, these policies were getting broken, and he wasn't trying to do it, but he did it, and we fired him. Even that. But they couldn't let go of the fact that they wanted to continue to hurt the Aleshire family as much as they possibly can. I mean, they did not have to fight, but oh, did they fight? We had Tony in the room, Mike Jecka in the room, Shane in the room, Jamie in the room, and they gave it their all. And it was, like I said, it was an experience. I caught them lying. I have them lying, and I have no problem showing it. It would take a lot of editing, but I could, it was a 2 hour each time. Actually, the second one was like more than 2 hours. But I asked Mike Jecka straight out, when was the first time you started like hearing about Justin Aleshire? Because he's not been there. Like, just tell me, when was it told to you that Justin Aleshire was a problem? And he reports to me that it was in the first louder mill. It's like, okay, bud, but you failed to remember that on the 24th of November and the 3rd of December, you guys were already talking about Justin Aleshire before he even got sent home. And some of the things that were in this unemployment pack that, justified his dismissal were from the following January, or the previous January, excuse me. So yeah, it just lies on top of lies. Shane also said that there was a meeting where they talked about the sunshine coming up Luzerne Road and how it's a dangerous situation because cars might. Bullshit. It's all bullshit, because guess what? We have every morning meeting recorded. Shane's a liar. Tony's a puppet master. Jecka lied. I don't know if he intended to lie, but he did lie, because I don't know if he just forgot that I got Jamie Heim, the mayor, to say that both the 24th and the 3rd were the same topic meeting, and then I got her to say that it was about Justin Aleshire. So they're all greasy. They're all greasy. And I just want to show you a little bit about this unemployment thing, because it's really incredible. Tony even brought up, not even the stuff that was in the Loudermill that actually got him fired. She put other things in the unemployment evidence just to double down, just to really dig in and make sure. So I did too. And Justin and I came up with a hell of evidence that I'm excited to show you. So anyway, let's get into it, and welcome to Do Your Worst. Okay. I'm trying desperately to block this massive natural light halo that keeps jumping on the screen, but we're gonna get into some things here. I don't know. Let's see. I think the best place to start is kind of the first one. This is your basic appeal right out the gate to tell the state of Minnesota that you don't agree with the fact that you're being denied unemployment. And so what we did is just tried to just send in what needed to be sent. And this was the questioning, kind of talks about who discharged you. And this is another thing that he has the odds stacked against him, because when you're talking about who discharged you, you have to list the whole council. So it looks like, it doesn't look like one angry person. It looks like, a ton of people decided that you weren't good enough to work here. So this is talking about the warnings, the basic information to give whoever's reviewing the case the opportunity to read through. In this, we wrote that I have a 600 gigabyte drive of data with supporting files, documents, recordings. I can send whatever. And that's another thing too. Minnesota unemployment doesn't even have email submission. You either have to fax or mail. What? It's 2026. Like, what? Recordings, none of that. So like all of like the big things that we have, um half of them couldn't be submitted. So that kind of sucked. But again, we knew we were up against a brick wall. So I shared some of the text messages that Suzanne had sent me, basically saying that, like this one, don't believe that they all wanted to keep Justin. Tony was ready to fire him up until the day I left. She basically confirms that nobody else got in trouble, not even a verbal warning requiring a signature, the whole union thing with Rosencrantz, nothing. She goes on to tell me all about like how they took that trip to Superior and the other two Justins were trying to take pictures of him stopping at a gas station, and that Shane and Tony were very upset when Suzanne thought that it didn't warrant, it felt retaliatory is what she said. And then just basically proving that Justin Aleshire was the only one disciplined. And again, here just saying no one else got in trouble up until the day I left. So we submitted that. We submitted another after the first window switch thing, right after John Werner died. His union rep, Justin's union rep, stated and made note in the grievance issues that he had some bad choices, but not insubordination. He was never doing anything like intentionally to break the rules. That's what pisses me off. And that's like, I, okay. If Justin, and I know he's not, so I can say this confidently, if Justin was a big ol' asshole, just a rude, mean asshole, I could completely understand how they wanted to do him so dirty. Like, I would understand that. Like, I firmly believe mean people should get what they have coming. And believe me, I think the people that have done this are going to get theirs. I don't call it karma because there are some really, really good people in this world that have been dealt a shit hand for no reason. But I do believe in the power of the universe and the energy you put out there. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming for them. But back to the point is that the things that they caught Justin on were just, first of all, they baited him into a lot of things. They set him up. They coached the other employees to make it look like he's a freaking dumbass. So, was he at fault during some of those things? Absolutely. We've said that. Like, he's never failed to admit when he actually was like, "Oh shoot, I did forget that." But the scrutiny level between him and others, that was always the problem. And then on top of that, like with the unemployment thing, his intention wasn't to go against the rules. And that's what they always tried to make it seem like. Like he was just this rogue ass, evil, mean butthole. I don't know. I don't know what to say. But anyway, yeah, so I made sure to put this stuff in here like December 9th, 2024. Justin's gets up, and of course I got up, but I mean, that's nothing new. But when Justin got up and he just said, the last 6 or 7 months have been difficult on me and my family. I've been called incompetent, insubordinate, and a thief. Tony, you have been trying to fire me since the first Loudermill hearing, and I had to work with your son at the city park and was reprimanded for loading the truck to clean up the trees and getting the truck stuck, which was her son. I was denied twice access to the video the council was that was told the council was okay with, and that he's referencing the union video. But they the fact that Justin was their target and the way they have treated him, I just want that to speak for itself. Because again, even it's like you got rid of the problem. You got rid of the problem. You got rid of Justin Aleshire. We've all the union stuff is done. The last piece is kind of the unemployment aspect, and You can't even give him that. Like, you literally uprooted his freaking life for the last 3 years, treated him like shit, put him through absolute hell, and you can't even give him unemployment. Like, that's the people. I want everybody in Rice Lake to know that's the people we're dealing with. They could care less about the taxpayers. If they are going to treat a former employee that had been there since August of 2017 like this, a kind person, like they actually care about a taxpayer, they have no idea who, they don't even care. They never have cared. That's the point here. And I think that, oh, we got some crying. Anyway, this is, I could, it's been a minute, so I think I have like some pent up stuff going on. But anyway, this is the first one. We got set up for the appeal, and then they send out kind of the information of the appeal. And then they give you the chance to submit evidence. Well, they first asked, briefly explain your case, and in short he wrote like, this is a targeted harassment. I know that there was like limited characters on certain portions, so you can only write so much, and they only have so much time. So then they go through the very basic questions. And this is where it's like, you're effed. If you say you weren't aware of the policy, you're screwed because you sign things. If you say you are aware of the policy, you're screwed because then you were the one that broke it and you don't get anything. So this never works for the employer or employee, excuse me. It's like the opposite of being a landlord. Like, when you get into a situation as a landlord, you're literally screwed. Like, your POS pile of crap renter has all the rights in the world, and you, who pays the property taxes and all the things, like, pretty much have no say. And in this situation with the state of Minnesota, who, pardon me, and I don't even give a crap about the political stance on this, but like a bajillion dollars in fraud everywhere to like fake daycares and all these things, but deny somebody who's got 25 years of working in some unemployment so he can just get from this job to the next job. The government as a whole, the world is effed. Like, these are some messed up things, and I think people need to know. And I'm not saying everybody deserves unemployment, because when you're a pile of crap, yeah, you shouldn't get it. But we sent in 165 or 65, 84, no, like 140 plus pages of evidence to prove. And like, the judge in this was very rude, very cold, and just kind of demeaning. She even cut off, we had Suzanne Herstead as our witness, and she totally just basically told her to stop talking. And was like, is that relevant to why he got fired? It's like, you're talking to the old mayor that was essentially his boss in a sense, and is trying to tell you that this is all effed, and you won't even hear her out. Like, I did not like this judge at all. She was very rude. But I'm sure she's heard it all. So she was probably like, I don't have time for this. Anyway, this is Tony's kind of like breakdown, I guess, where she talks about the applicant, numerous breaches of safety work violations, not compliant with thorough safety pre-ops on vehicles, breaches of safety. I don't want to bore you with all of that. But then, in order to like solidify all of her shit that she's about to submit, there were things that like came in this that I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? She wrote here that when Justin supposedly violated the safety work cones, which was on this extremely dangerous road that they apparently had to talk about the sun, which is a lie. And yet Justin didn't put out cones, but out of all of the other things. Like they take pictures of everything. They took pictures of a safety chain. Magically, Justin doesn't put cones out, but there's no pictures. And he wasn't actually talked to on this specific event until he's in a Loudermill. Do you see how that works? Like this was kind of a linchpin for him. So the Luzerne Road thing. And mind you, the meeting for the Luzerne Road, or supposed like morning dangerous meeting, whatever, one day after the Duluth Monitor sends questions to Tony, and one day after the Duluth Monitor sends questions to the fire chief, Mark Nemi, and then the project starts on November 17th is when he supposedly forgot these safety cones. I'm pretty sure Duluth Monitor reached out to Daryl either that day or the next. Daryl drives by this workplace or work site. Now, mind you, Daryl has no problem interjecting on every other possible situation, but now he's driving by and apparently he sees that there's no safety cones. And like, as the public works liaison / whatever title he wants to make up that day, he doesn't stop. Like, you don't stop and try to correct it. I'm confused. And then she puts in here that she's basically trying to say that this worksite created a safety hazard for himself, his coworkers, and the general public. It's like, first of all, you can just leave Justin out of there because you have given zero shits about him. So she's just word vomiting. And then it says, what explanation, if any, did the applicant give for the violation? She writes, he threatened a city councilor, saying he apparently hasn't learned yet. And then she puts her own assertion that, assuming that she believes that this was said. I don't know who the told said this, but Justin never said that. And he's like, I said that I watched him drive by. I never, whatever. Anyway, this is words from supposedly from Justin to Shane, then to Tony, and now Tony's interpreting it as a threat. She's psychotic, you guys, psycho. So she says, meaning Mr. Aleshires thought he didn't have to follow the safety rules that Counselor Johnson told him he needed to follow. Well, let me get this straight. Counselor Johnson didn't even stop at the work site. So what safety rules did Counselor Johnson have? I'm confused. Isn't Shane Downey the supervisor? Yeah. And then on the violation for the safety chains, Mr. Aleshires stated he did not remember having a conversation with his supervisor about the importance of safety chains because they fabricate everything. But yeah, so saying that Justin was threatening Counselor Johnson, it's like, oh my God. Now, because Daryl loves to be the victim. It's the same thing as the smear campaign. He's like, oh, they smear. That's the worst public smear in the history of Rice Lake. It's like, oh my God, could you just not be the victim for like 3 seconds? Because you either want to be the fucking hero or you're crying victim if it doesn't go your way. Like, whatever. Yeah, so I'm going to fly through this part. And I mean, there's so much here. It's hard because you almost have to like sit down and read everything. But she put in all the stuff that was living online. I mean, the stuff that people have probably already read. She put in the inspection pre-op, like the safety book or whatever. And then she put in all his write-ups and extra. She even put the where is it? The pre-checks. There's the PIP is in here, which was completely expired. And I made sure to point that out. Like, why are we even talking about this? Like, why is the PIP in here? But so she puts in all these things, all these pre-checks or pre-ops. And she also submitted one from Justin Rosencrantz. Oh, wait, but that's not the only one. There's another one from Justin Rosencrantz. Let's see. Oh, there it is. So, I mean, just to thicken the file, she's just going to throw any signature that is kind of unreadable in there, just to fluff everything. She put the pictures of the wear pattern, and then um this is one thing that I pointed out. So some of these go back to the previous January, where they were trying to say that he didn't chain the grader. And this was now remember, October was the union video. November, Daryl loses the election. Big old like scene at the November meeting. So I mean, like, things were happening pretty much simultaneously with like retaliation against Aleshire for anything, but especially bringing up the union video, and then me being so boisterous against Daryl during the election in the smear campaign. But I did raise this and just said, because there's so many documents on top of documents with the same dates and then like different verbiage. But there is a letter in here from Shane, the supervisor, that talks about on the 19th, 12/19/24 and 12/20/24, that then when he discovered the supposed safety chains weren't in place, blah, blah, blah. The decision has been made to drop the verbal reprimand. Moving forward, I'll take this opportunity to conduct. Okay. So why the fuck is this in there? And this actual like incident is oh, there it is. Yep, December 19th, 2024 and December 2024. That's part of this Minnesota unemployment denial. So riddle me this. The supervisor says we're going to drop it, but then it gets put into evidence, and then the judge gets to use it in her decision to deny unemployment. Make it make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, so this is all of Tony's. This is the PIP that I can show right here. Expired 6 months. But she makes sure to highlight this. You must improve your performance immediately and continuously. That's the kicker word. That's the magic word that they threw in there, because continuously means forever. You must be perfect. You must be perfect forever. Well, let's get into the stuff that we sent. So we went through and just made a letter basically explaining that I'm submitting documents to be entered as evidence. I've been targeted for termination the past 2 years, which culminated into my successful termination on January 29th, since the first Loudermill, April 29th on 2024. And just kind of basically broke it down to like all these different things, and kind of rebuttaling the evidence that they submitted. But also, like, we said, like, I possess multiple recordings of Counselor Johnson stating that the roads have never looked better and that I was doing a great job. I also have evidence of Counselor Quaid expressing similar satisfaction with the roads. So we told her all that, but at this point it doesn't matter. I mean, she just whatever. So this, I can't remember what exactly has been shown, but this is a 2022 or 2020 review, 2 of 2020. So February of 2020, Tony's giving a performance review, and it could not be better for us. Justin has caught on quickly to our road locations plowing process and shows great initiative in completing all the tasks given to him. And she basically says, like, discuss areas of excellence: work ethic, hard worker, innovative, creative thinker, coming up with new ideas, overall attitude at work. I appreciate your positive attitude and your willingness to always help with whatever is asked of you. I also appreciate your punctuality and reliability. Like, this lady. And so this was another thing that was put in there, is a made up letter written by Tony dated March 2019, has no freaking date on it. This is the one where they claimed that he plowed our little residential driveway with a fucking grader. Okay? Do the math, people. Little teeny driveway, massive grader. You wouldn't even be able to turn the goddamn thing around if you went in to a if you went into any personal driveway with the I don't even know. I'm not even going to get into it. It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. And actually Suzanne touched on it and kind of took some ownership, saying that her and Tony decided that this needed to go in there, which blows my mind still, because it's like, okay, did John tell you it? Like, who fabricated this story? And if he was so willing to tell you this, then why weren't you willing to show him this letter you made up to put in Justin's file, where he would either tell you, I'm not signing that, throw that away, because it's not true. I don't know. It's all done, but or dumb. But anyway, all my writing is in the red. This is basically me calling them out on the PIP, saying that it has expired. I'm showing her that the added section number 8, where basically she's proving that it was retaliatory about the Duluth Monitor reaching out and asking questions. I submitted the timeline that you guys have all seen. I submitted the transcript of the meeting on 6/25, where Justin's like, I just want to come to work. Please just stop it. So that's got a lot of pages in it. Oops, where am I? Whoa. Getting crazy. Okay. And then, yeah, just more accolades from both Counselor Quaid and Counselor Johnson. So this is something that I caught on the evidence that they tried to submit to when Justin was first going through the Loudermill process. And it was the video of him not doing his pre-checks. And, as you know, Justin got fired because he didn't attach the safety chain on a plow blade. Okay. This is proof that others do not get in trouble or even remotely talk to or ever have their freaking employment threatened. So while watching these videos, I made a pretty big observation, because Justin and I had watched them together, and then as we got through the one, he's like, oh yeah, and this is where I showed Rosencrantz that he had his chains on wrong. And I was like, whoa, what? And he goes, yeah, those chains, and I'm going to point to him right here, these little chains right here. They're not supposed to go in the front. They're supposed to go in the back. Everybody knows that drives a plow truck. And Rosencrantz been there since 2021. So what's your excuse now, bud? And so what I did is I went back and I took a screenshot of every single day those chains were wrong. Yep. And just took a screenshot of the truck that had been used. So he's done his pre-op, everybody, Justin Rosencrantz supposedly did his pre-op, and these unsafe chains were backwards, and he actually used it, continued to use it, put it back, parked it, still there. But it wasn't until the 3rd when a kind coworker comes over and just says, hey, I don't know if you saw this, but these are supposed to go in the back, not the front. Just whatever, no big deal. It does what he's supposed to do. He's a kind person, so he just wants to help out. Doesn't run and tell the supervisor like a little bitch, like Rosencrantz would have done. Like, he just helps him. And then he goes back to his truck. But do you think that Justin Aleshires got any credit for doing the right thing here? And do you think that Justin Rosencrantz got in trouble at all? No. You'd be silly, because it's never been that way. Oh, here's where it gets fun. So I'm going to read this. I secured these pages from a logbook which was slated for destruction during my investigation. To prevent their disposal, I was forced to attend a meeting and formally request the data in front of the council. Now, what he means by that is that we didn't want them to because I don't know if it had emotion or not, but we wanted to be like, no, here, counsel, here's this data request. Don't let her destroy these books because I want to see them. And so what do you know? What do you fucking know? So the same thing that she's going to fire Justin for, this city vehicle that Tony Bloomdahl constantly uses, she was attempting to dispose the evidence while committing the same or worse offense than the other one that she cited for me. So she also disposed of old logbooks from my public works coworkers in October, which was a preparatory step for their plan. So before we even knew that this was all coming, logbooks were being destroyed. But Justin caught this one, and lo and behold, Tony driving a vehicle, city vehicle, checking that it's okay, and signature. Now, did she do a pre-check? Did she go through all of these things? No. So did she falsify documents? Oh, there's Robin Murphy doing the same thing. Robin Murphy, Tony Bloomdahl, Robin, Carly just did at least a try, a check, and you know. I want to show you when we get to one that Shane does. Oh, Kim, they're all in there. Multiple times. Yet Justin is getting fired, or got fired. Excuse me. I still say that. Yeah, it's just incredible. Okay, so now here's Shane. He writes the mileage. He goes through, he crosses off that it doesn't have a manual clutch, so he crosses it off. Airlines, he actually does the pre-trip. So that's what it's supposed to look like. And the other ones are what it's not supposed to look like. There's Shane again. I don't want to give this guy any credit for anything, but in this scenario, we had to put these in there because that's what it's supposed to look like. Driver's side wiper is bad. Yeah. So Tony's evil ass goes and fires Justin for pre-trips that she can't even do herself. And welcome to the city of Rice Lake. So I put some Facebook comments that I thought were pretty awesome of the community speaking up and just saying this doesn't make sense. These are the data files from when Justin went on to do his generator log and found stuff that was in Tony Bloomdahl's drive, written like it was Shane and modified by Carly. Yeah, you figure that one out. And then lied straight to Suzanne's face and told her that she was mystified that those were in there. And then there's the owner of the performance improvement plan for Aleshires is Gage Bloomdahl. At that time, he was her 11-year-old son. Moving on to the attorney fees. Rice Lake residents, you don't have to like me. I don't care if you do. I honestly do not care. But you should know that when they're squabbling over maybe adding a little class 5 to your road or something that might cost a couple thousand, they let Tony, and this was till February. That doesn't include the most recent invoice that we just saw that was like $4,300 or $4,500 on top of this $12,000. So yes. So yeah. 16 plus $1,000 in attorney fees that they were totally fine with her doing. Just letting you know. Put in all those nasty text messages we've probably seen 1,000 times from Rosencrantz. Just showing you the kind of person he is. And that was the first packet. And then the second packet, okay, so this correspondence serves as a follow-up to the fax I sent yesterday, which provided my evidence in response to the written statements from City of Rice Lake. Today, I'm submitting my rebuttal to the evidence that City of Rice Lake has provided. So this is here we go again, just basically saying that this is not Justin Aleshire's log, handwriting or signature. This was after the tire was recognizably odd pattern. And did this employee make note of it or tell his supervisor or get in trouble after they found the tire later when they were punishing Justin Aleshire? Nope. This is out of sequence. 10-7 has nothing to do. She made sure to say that the odd wear pattern was written on November 3rd, and then she throws this in there. She just wants to fluff the file. Again, this isn't Justin's handwriting or signature. It's the same employee. And so let's see. This was another thing I had to prove, or I had to say that like all of these documents were made up after Justin was gone. They were all made up after Justin was gone. I don't know how else to explain that to people. Like this one even says on December 8th, that's when they were checking the belly blade and found the grease fittings. And like everything that they found was found after he was gone with no proof. Like, do you think there was pictures of the grease fittings? Oh, no. But they took pictures of everything else. They just couldn't take pictures of certain things. Only certain things didn't have pictures to help them. I brought up that if the verbal reprimand was dropped, why is this even in here? Because Tony Bloomdahl's evidence number 40, 41, 42, 43 is still in here, even though it's clear that they said it was dropped. I reported that, or I told them that this was the very next day after the local news started asking questions about the CPS report, that Daryl did. Yeah. And magically, the reporting party is Daryl Johnson. This is where I just found it so odd when we were talking to the judge. I said, actually, you can't speak to the judge. You have to ask it in question form. It was pretty hard, actually. It was fun to do, but she was really rude because she would be like, that's not it. It's like, I'm not an attorney. You literally asked me at the beginning of this phone call if I want to represent him or I want to be a witness. And I just said I was going to represent him. That doesn't mean this is unemployment. We're not dealing with like attorneys in the state. Come on. She was just rude. But yeah, so I said the reporting party is Daryl Johnson. Daryl Johnson is the public works supervisor. Daryl Johnson has been involved in all these other allegations where it was Daryl Johnson that needed to be involved so much. He's the reporting party and he didn't even stop to say, hey, whoa, guys, no safety cones. You got to do this. But yet this is the same area where they're going to say that Justin made some rogue ass comment about Daryl hasn't learned yet. And then they turn it into a threat. Oh my God. So yeah, I just put in the media request for the CPS report showing November 13th that the Duluth Monitor reached out. Good day, Clerk Bloomdahl. Yep. I think this is the one, November 20th. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was still, okay, yeah. So I put them in order with the person. So then here's Mark Nemes, back and forth. And then last, but definitely not least, Tuesday, November 18th, there's Daryl's. And if we go back and we look at this, I think I might have just caught something in the moment here. Actually, it's not on this one. So yeah, this is the November 14th is the day after everybody else is getting questions. Daryl's knowing that his questions are coming. This November 17th is the day before Daryl's questions. And then there was supposedly another violation. So yeah, we'll scroll through all of that. I don't want to take away from the Monitor because he's supposedly going to do an article. We'll see. I don't know. I have a hard time believing anybody anymore, especially when it's like, okay, it was November and now it's April. let's see. Oh, this is one of the written. Yeah, this is, she put this in there and it was like this PIP weekly check-in. And this was when she literally called Justin a liar in this meeting because he said it rained and then more things came out of the gutter. And then she's like, I went and checked the forecast. It did not rain. He lied. And then the union rep was like, no, data request. I want to see those videos. And lo and behold, it did rain. And then here are the links to the videos. Let me know if you have any issues. Let me see. Where does Heather review my schedule? I wish I was better at like citing exactly. I apologize that I said it did not rain that day, as it clearly did rain prior to Justin doing any work. That's her like refusing to admit that it rained. But she's trying to say that it happened before Justin did work, and so then it shouldn't have. It's like condensation off of a roof in the morning can create water flow. This is how micromanaged he was. So yeah, and then I just put in all the stuff that I think, I don't even know what I've shown. Yeah, I've talked about how micromanaged she was and these things that I've went through with you guys. Yeah, and how she would talk to him and how he would talk to her. When Justin was sent home on December 5th, he drove straight to City Hall and requested his personal file. This form and anything after it were not in there. This was planned. And then I put these things that are not a coincidence, that on November 10th, Jamie's mayoral update went on another ride about with Councillor Johnson and Administrator Bloomdahl to look at the roads. It was clear to me that we have a lot of ditching to do. And I think we may need to look at bringing another road person. I do not feel the current staff number is able to keep up with what needs to be done. We have talked about adding another person in 2026, but I think it may need to be sooner. No, you talked about adding another person in 2027, Jamie, but now you guys are trying to roll through this like, let's fire Aleshires thing. So, yeah, and then she has to make comments. And this is another, I just find it so funny that they call it ditching now, when before in his first Loudermill, they talked about grading issues, grading performance, grading. And then my dad was like, that's not what you're talking about. It's actually called ditching. And now all of a sudden it's ditching. Like, okay. This was all set up, and I proved it with the calendar. Not a coincidence. This is the first meeting available after the fake write-up that was never discussed with Justin Aleshires in his personal file on December 5th. They had a plan, they executed it, so when they got the chance to fire him, this would support it. They wrote this supposed write-up came from the 29th, and the next available meeting about write-abouts was the 10th, specifically talking about ditching and specifically talking about needing another worker. Seth Werner submits his application on the 12th, 2 days later, or maybe I could be wrong. It's either the 12th or 19th, and then is hired on the 24th, the very same day that they have a meeting talking about Justin Aleshires. Kiss my ass if you don't think that was a plan. Then we sent this basically confirming that when Justin was going through the works of all of this, around December, he said, "Merry Christmas, everyone." And then he basically calls Tony out. Why is the file that was sent to Heather different than the one that I came in December 5th, that I have recorded? And a majority of these documents were not in my personnel file. I would like to see that drive information and when these files were created, modified, and by who. Based on my experience last year around this time, when I inadvertently stumbled upon documents in the drive while doing my generator log reports that were being created about me, yet never discussed with me, from Tony's drive, edited by Carly, but supposedly written by Shane, and some even owned by Gage Bloomdahl. So this obviously was sent, and there's more. to Jamie, Heather Davis, Tony Blumendahl, Mike Jecka. Do you think Jamie and Jecka actually fucking even tried to believe Justin? Never once. Never once. I put this in here. This is from Heather Davis to them talking about the PIP meetings or the weekly meetings that they wanted to drop. Tony couldn't even show up on time at all, or like it was all during the time Daryl had just entered the mayoral race, and I personally believe that they were going so well, the weekly meetings were going so well, and Tony made sure to say that in the unemployment docs. She said he would do like a perfect job when being monitored, but the minute he wasn't monitored, he went back to being basically awful. And it's like, oh, okay. So when he was on the PIP for 6 months, not even, he was totally okay and perfectly fine. And then he just went rogue all these other times. But, the 6 years that he was here, when John Werner was here, absolutely no issues. But then magically John Werner dies and Justin's rogue. And then he's only good during the PIP. I mean, do you hear yourself, you morons? Do you hear yourself? Fucking idiots. I can't even handle it. And this is one of my I feel like this cannot be overlooked just because it's so Tony. So she drags Justin through the mud. She makes him feel like an incompetent piece of shit. They are the ones that asked to drop the PIPs, right? So then, you have to go backwards on these things. So the bottom one is actually the first one sent from Shane, and they're talking about Heather sending a new proposal. Heather was only sending a new proposal because y'all wanted to stop the fucking weekly meetings. So, okay, yeah, she offered a new proposal. Stop having the meetings altogether, since we haven't reported any issues in the past 9 weeks of having these meetings. She's going to send an email explaining her request in greater detail. So I wouldn't expect to receive an email from her. Laughy face. That's basically Shane being a dick. Or maybe she will send the PIP weekly check-in sheets that she was going to send me 2 months ago. I mean, just so rude. And then Tony responds, wow, that is an interesting proposal. I won't hold my breath for an email from her, but I think it's a good idea to cancel the meetings. Yeah, because you guys proposed it. Heather's responding to you, and now you're like acting like it's her idea to want to cancel the meetings. Just make sure you are documenting your directions to him, his execution of those instructions, and make sure you are giving him feedback on his performance daily, at least when issues arise. He doesn't need a pat on the back every time he shows up for work. Did he ask for a pat on the back, you stupid bee? No. You've drug his face through the mud. He's just trying to show up and do whatever he could to keep his job that you so desperately wanted to fire him. Unbelievable. She's a nasty, nasty person, you guys. If you don't believe me, I can send you every single one of these so you can personally just hold them. I'll print them off for you so you can hold them and read them. She's evil. She's rude, and she should not be representing our city at all. Okay. I can't stand her. Yeah, but anyway, this is all stuff that we've kind of gone through before, and I just sent it in. This one's a doozy where she, basically he met with Heather like 10 minutes before his first very first Loudermill meeting. Never done this before, shitting his pants, scared out of his mind, meets with his union rep in the parking lot of the city hall before he walks in to have this meeting. And she says, did he request time off to meet with his union rep Friday before our meeting with him? I'm guessing not. So another absent without permission violation. She's disgusting. We'll just keep watching and documenting anything that comes up. I think this one is to Jamie. Jamie, we understand the time doesn't work for you, but we figured we didn't want you to have to sit through this meeting anyway. No, what if, don't decide things for people. What if Jamie wanted to sit? I doubt it now that I know the kind of person she is, but like, what if she wanted to? Don't decide things for people. And don't put a negative connotation on it like that. See everybody bright and early for fun discussions. Hi, buddy. Anyway. Oh, man. I have to say, after being sick for so long and just being kind of removed from all this, it's been nice to like step away from. It's just heavy. It's just really heavy, and it's just not a good place to live like indefinitely. And so like with the Justin chapter of this, it'll be nice to kind of like close that a little bit. This is strictly talking about unemployment, so they can kiss my butt if they think it's talking about Justin's work, because it's all related to this Minnesota unemployment denial. That I just wanted to show everybody that they had the ability to at least throw a freaking bone, and they couldn't even do that. So, but moving forward, I have all sorts of fun stuff that has nothing to do with Justin's employment. It's just employment. It's strictly things to highlight and showcase the actual players in the game. I got stuff for Mark Nemi. I got stuff for Carly, Robin. We got stuff about Daryl getting appointed back to council. All really interesting things. The only thing I'm going to say here is that I'm not sure about the cadence of the episodes now that I got a majority and the bulk of the information out on Justin stuff. I think I'm just going to take the opportunities to put things together when I can. And then when the, episode comes together, I'll put it out there, but I don't know if I want to be on an exact like weekly thing, just so I don't miss out on this beautiful life, because I think we are on the cusp of some amazing, amazing things now that we can kind of put this chapter of Justin's nasty employment with the city of Rice Lake behind us as far as that goes. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun. There's a council meeting tomorrow night, and I'm going to be there because, I think it'll get even more fun now that I have his part removed. So I hope this wasn't too drawn out. I am still like on my last day of antibiotics, so it's like my head's still cloudy and all the things, but I thought you'd find it interesting that a lot of people were asking about the unemployment factor, and it was officially denied, but we fought like hell. And so did they, which I think only speaks more volumes about who they are. Okay, so on that note, you can hear my director calling cut. I'm going to jump off, and I just want to say thank you so much for being here. And we forever grateful for everybody who's shown support and been so sweet. So yeah, until we can get Justin started up at his next job, it's just one day at a time. That's all we can do. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Take care.